want to say a few words, take questions, whatever you feel like doing.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was really fun to watch that. I was watching, I'm going to take this out of the thing. I was watching the earlier videos, kind of feeling like, you know, I get asked a lot, like, what was that like? And it's like anybody looking at their high school yearbook. I go, that was me. I was there. I remember it. But it's also surreal, and it was like, it's the same person, but it's a different person. So it's always interesting to kind of waltz down memory lane like that. Yeah.
It was fun putting it together, too.
Well, thank you. I was surprised you picked that third song, Already Gone, was a song that I did independently, like, I think it was like 8 years ago, maybe, with Fred Corey, who's the drummer for Cinderella, and he actually produced that song. People don't know he's an amazing, like, classical, he's doing scoring now for TV shows and film, and he's an amazing producer and a really good friend of mine. I actually set him up with his now wife. And so yeah, I hadn't seen that in a while either. And yeah, so thank you. That was pretty cool, because that's a little more representative of me now. Very, very, very good choice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Want a few questions?
I would love lots of questions.
Raise your hand. We'll come around with the wireless right here, down front.
If I remember correctly, you were about 16 when you started.
Yes.
Do you have any regrets along the way of starting that young? Like things you might have missed out in high school or anything like that?
No, I mean, I'm finding it's just my life's gone in like an odd order, you know, in an unnatural order. So in a weird way, I lived out my teenage years and my early 20s just recently. It's kind of funny to say. It was like at a certain point I went, wow, I don't have any like obligations to a label. I'm not in a Broadway show. I can actually just have the freedom to live my life how I want. And so, you know, I joked that like from 16 to 22, I had people doing my laundry for me, you know, on the road. So I learned all that stuff in my 20s. You know, my boyfriend jokes when he met me, I could barely crack an egg. I've just learned my way around a Whole Foods. You know, so it's just things like, I feel like I'm in a way all caught up now, but things just went out of order. But I would never ever trade my journey. And starting that young, you know, you're not paying the rent at 16. And my parents were so supportive, and I didn't know what having 3 mortgages on a house meant, but that's what they had going on. And somehow they managed to juggle their life to support me to do what I do, and it allowed it to be a hobby. It was a glorified hobby for me. You know, like I never thought of it as, oh, I'm making money from this or getting famous from this. It was just, I was out there doing what I love to do, and it was all very pure and very innocent, and in that regard, I wouldn't change it at all. You know, it definitely has its psychological things that come with it, because, you know, you're like, I was employing 100 people at 18, and if I canceled a show, it was like, you don't meet your overhead on the, you hear words at 18 that most 18-year-olds don't ever hear, like overhead. So, but hopefully I turned out okay, but, you know, it definitely isn't without its oddities, you know, but whenever you hear any young, like people that were young, famous, complaining, it's always like, shut up, you know. So I wouldn't trade any of it. Yeah, thank you.
Question over there. Right here.
Hello. How do you feel that the music industry itself has changed from the time you were that young till now when you can make stuff on your own?
I know, it's so crazy. Like at any time, you know, I think about, I was demoing my songs in my garage, and I had a Tascam 4-track recorder, and before that, the reason why I ended up getting that, my mom actually got a loan from an uncle to put a studio together. It was because I was lining up my sister's Panasonic tape recorders, like that red one with the handle, and you press the buttons on the top. I was gathering the tape recorders, and I had a Casio synthesizer, and I was like, I had them lined up on the ironing board. And that was my garage band. So, you know, I had them lined up on the ironing board, and I was like playing a part into one and then playing it back while playing both parts into the next. And so, like, I knew what multi-track recording was, but I didn't have the tools to do it. So it's just amazing now that, again, kids are like, you know, making records on a laptop, and in a day they're on YouTube. And for me, it was 100 songs, about 100 demos in the garage. Later, Atlantic signed me to do 1 song. And then it took 9 months of playing clubs for people to ever know that song existed. So again, though, I wouldn't trade it because I think to myself, if suddenly I was catapulted at 12, and on YouTube, and suddenly I'm on a late night show singing, and I would have missed all those steps that you take where you get to make your mistakes kind of like for 200 people at a time instead of 2 million people at a time. And so in a weird way, I feel for the young artists today because I feel like they don't know that they're skipping steps, and the stress of, I think of like Carrie Underwood going from Idol to, the Grammys, and I go, she just was cut out for it. Clearly, me, I would have been a basket case. I needed to take all those steps. So the industry has changed a lot in that way, that things are so instantaneous now. But on the other hand, it's amazing that an artist can be independent and put something out online and have it reach so many people. I mean, there's a beauty in that we're not reliant on labels. And I'm not one of these people that's like a bad mouther of labels. I think they have their purpose and they certainly know how to market things. But it is great that it can be your choice and that, you can reach people other ways if you don't want to be a part of the big machine and beholding to anybody,
We have a question back here for you.
Right. Thank you, Phil Donahue. That's what you're reminding me of right now. You're like,
Hi.
yes, I'm old enough to remember the Phil Donahue show.
Hi.
Hi.
What are some of the groups or individuals you like listening to, or some of the styles of music you like listening to?
Oh my goodness. I like everyone from Brandon Flowers to Rihanna, as cliche as that sounds, although I'm not loving the current vibe. I like what was happening a few years ago. I'm trying to think, it makes me want to pull up my iTunes. I just did a little post yesterday of singing, I've got a girl crush. I hate to admit it, but Little Big Town, love that. I love everything from country to urban. I listen to The Weeknd, and I listen to country, and I listen to Old Billy Joel, and I mean, it's so varied. To me, it's a good song, it's a good song, it's a good song. Yes.
Got a question, a couple questions on this side.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to purposely pick the furthest people away so you've got to get a workout. Oh.
I was wondering, you had sort of a singing phase, and you had sort of a Broadway phase, and an acting phase. Do you have plans for the future as to where you might go, or are you going to do all of it?
What phase am I in? It's funny that you separated them out, and they are different, but to me, growing up, they were all the same. To me, it was like, you're an entertainer, and you have to know how to sing, you have to know how to act, and you have to know how to play roles, but you also should know how to create your own thing. And so, to me, it was all always part of the game plan. If I had one, it was I wanted to be a Bette Midler. I wanted to be someone who did it all. Or I'll take that back. I wanted to be like if Bette Midler and Billy Joel had a child, because I wanted to write and play and be that Broadway woman. But I'm more in a phase of no plans, which is an interesting phase to be in, because I got when I got back into, because I was doing theater as a kid, and then I got into recording and everything took off, and I went back to theater doing Les Mis on Broadway, and I never imagined that it was going to actually be at the forefront of what I did for it was 17 years. I did 17 musicals in 17 years, anywhere from a 2-week run to a year-long run. So that's a lot of 8 shows a week. And in between, I was releasing independent albums. And something in me must have not wanted to carry the weight of being a pop star. I kind of analyzed this recently. I went, because you look at a Taylor Swift, and obviously you're not seeing her oh, I'm going to play Sandy in Greece somewhere or whatever. She's not doing that. And I couldn't wait to do that. And that was just my journey. And I think I wanted to be one of the gang and part of something, as opposed to it being all about me. The show could still go on without me if I'm doing theater, but if you're doing a concert, it's all you. There's no getting sick. So really right now, what seems to be happening a lot is I've always loved writing and producing for people, but that in and of itself is its kind of own political business. And I always said I don't want to be involved in those politics where you're going to a writing session and you're writing a song with 5 people when you know full well that one person could be writing it, or 2 people, and the guy going, is getting a writing credit, And the guy doing the beats is getting a writing credit, which I'm like, that's producing, that's not right. And I've been offered that. And I'm like, I can't do it. So now I'm getting mainly young girls coming my way, and which obviously that's the most natural fit would be for me to kind of mentor and write for, or write with and produce for younger girls. Like there's a girl named Mandy Rain who has a song, Start a Riot, gonna burn it down to the ground with you tonight. Don't know if you heard it, but she did that song. I happen to love it. Her manager happened to reach out to us saying, oh, you're Mandy's idol, will you work with her? And then just last night, like another country artist on Twitter, like it's all of a sudden, I think the universe is going, yes, we want you to write and produce for these young girls. So that's definitely, I think, an upcoming phase for me. And then I'm sitting on a lot of music that I love. And it's like going back to the question before about starting young. I always say like I was the youngest person to do a bunch of stuff. And I might not be like the oldest person to do a bunch of stuff, because like, Tina Turner had her big comeback at like 44 years old. That's how old I am now. And I feel like I might still be a year or two away from doing my next record, but I feel like whatever it is going to be very vital and very relevant, and I'm very excited about it as if I was 16 again. So that's coming too.
We have another question over here for you.
Yes.
It's a non-music question, but is there any chance of any more sci-fi movies, like the Mega Shark?
Oh, I would love it. I keep joking I want Mega Shark the musical. Like a spoofy musical movie, comedy, sci-fi, like put everything kitschy together in one place. I'm totally open to doing more of that. It's funny, when I got the call to do Mega Shark, my agent called me. His name is David Shapira. He's a little guy, older guy in LA, very kind of classic agent. He said, I got a part for you. And it's a very strange offer. And he goes, but don't worry, nobody's ever going to see it. He said, it's just like, it's on the Sci-Fi Channel, it's a small movie, but I know you want to do more acting, and we need to get some more tape on you, you know, we need to get stuff to submit for other bigger things, is what he was trying to say. And, but you might have fun doing it, it's like no money, and I read the script, and I was like, this is so much fun. Like, I've never taken myself seriously, and I was like, a shark eats the Golden Gate Bridge. How could I say no? I mean, like, how could I say no? So I went and did it, and then of course the trailer comes out, and the first day it's got like 500,000 hits on YouTube. And I'm like, David, this was the movie that we shot in like a little bubble and nobody cared, but that's why it ended up being so much fun. Because like, I think it's the opening scene, like you see me driving the submarine, which even just saying that out loud right now is hysterical. And there's a shot of close-up of my hands, and it's like, it looks like an old lady's hand with black nail polish. And I was like, where was the continuity director on this movie? That like, there were things like that about the movie that are so low budget and funny that I'm like, it just made me so happy. And then of course, when the idea of doing it with Tiffany came up, I was like, me and Tiffany have been wanting to do something forever, and we would have thought it would have been musical, and we just, again, we thought this was so absurd and fun and kitschy that we had to do it, so. Glad you enjoyed that.
Another question over here for you.
Yeah.
All right, Deb. Is there any chance you're going to put any music out soon or anything like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been writing a ton of stuff. I might have to bust out into a snippet of something again. First of all, I just love to sing. So like, life's a musical to me. It's like, I sing my thoughts all the time. But yeah, I've been writing a lot about really life, because I was able to stop and actually have a life for a moment, have a relationship, live in the real world. I even at one point, like entertainers have business managers, it's like they stay in a round-the-clock accountant doing all your stuff. And a few years ago, I was like, I want to take over my own business management for a year to actually know what's going on in my financial life and my business, so that when I hire the next person, I know how to watch over them and what to, because we all got ripped off back at some point when the big machine was going. And just living in that real world, it just makes writing so much more fun, because I'm not writing, like I love Bon Jovi and I love the song Wanted Dead or Alive, but who can relate to that except somebody who's been on the road in a rock band? And so I was like, I don't want to start writing Wanted Dead or Alive. I want to be writing stuff that resonates with people. And I wrote a song about, because it's funny, like I've owned houses, I've sold them to make albums, and now I'm like, you know what? I'm a fan of renting houses because I don't know anyone who really owns their house whose house doesn't own them, if you know what I mean. So I wrote this song, and I wrote this hook last year. Oh, they can take a house, but they can't take a home. They can say, hey, you're out, but oh no, you cannot take all that you cannot see. Can't take the part of me that's free. And it's funny, I sang it last year at a Christmas concert I did in a cathedral in Brooklyn. And I said, who here is, going through a hard time financially? And there was like, literally I said to my boyfriend, I said, I felt everyone's butts tighten up. Everyone went, huh? But nobody said like, amen, which I was waiting for an amen. And I was like, y'all can't lie, you're in church, so whatever. But anyway, I proceeded to sing the song, and people were crying because everyone's going through a hard time in their life right now. It's not a glamorous time in the world. And so I'm writing about more, we'll say the songs are more visceral. Even the love songs are not, they're not the puppy love songs anymore, because that's not what love becomes at a certain point. So there's another song that's, love is hard on me, not what I want, but what I need. God, it cuts, will it leave? Can I take this love so hard on me? And it goes on, but that's the gist of that. And again, like, I seem to attract tough love into my life. I had my mom managing me for 25 years. Your mother's never gonna lie to you. Like, everyone's gonna go, you look great. She's like, change that outfit. And now I have a man in my life who's the same way, and I always say to him, great, I can't catch a break. Nobody will let me relax and get away with anything. So, that's what that song obviously is about.
We have a question for you back here.
Yes.
I can just stay seated, right? Okay, cool. Hey, so I just did the math, and I think it was 5th grade, like 1990. For whatever reason, we did in like the chorus, "Lost in Your Eyes," and that's really bizarre. It's even more bizarre thinking of it back now. But that's actually completely unrelated to the question that I had.
Yes.
You were on The Apprentice.
Yes.
And Donald Trump is running for president now.
Yes.
That's kind of weird. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely weird, I'm with you.
Without
but
getting
then
too political.
again, I'm not a big fan of getting too political, but I mean, I'm someone who likes to watch debates. I keep an open mind. There are things I've liked about him. There are things I like about Rand Paul. There are things, but I will say what I've always liked about Donald Trump personally, and I've known him since I'm like 21. He came to my Broadway opening. He's a very supportive guy, supportive of New Yorkers. What you see is what you get. That's refreshing to me. Like, honestly, you can love him, you can hate him. He's gonna speak his mind without any care in the world for what people think. And I get really tired of seeing guarded politicians. And he's a self-made American man, which to me speaks to something too. So those are the positives about it for me. And I'm waiting for like me and Dee Snider to get a call to sing at one of his political events or something. I keep saying "We're Not Gonna Take It" is a great campaign song. I think it needs. Did someone use that last time? At some point? Such a great song. Yes.
We have a question over here.
Just real quick, that scene in Ghostbusters, is that you in the background?
It's me in the background.
Do you remember that?
I remember it so well. So I was doing a lot of like extra work in TV commercials and movies when I was a kid because I just loved showbiz, and any chance to be around it was amazing to me. So, I wasn't like booking anything that made me any money or gave me any notoriety. And still my parents were like juggling their work shifts. And the scene in Ghostbusters, where Rick Moranis is running out, they're like playing Twister, and there's a party going on, and he runs out of the party, and he runs across his park and his tavern on the green, and he's banging on the glass windows, being chased by the ghost. And that was my birthday party. I always played the birthday girl. It was supposedly my birthday party going on in Tavern on the Green. And you could hardly see me because there was a very over-actor-ish waiter who was blocking me the whole time. So you see me, like, I have brown hair and I have a pink bow in my hair. And, like, at some point I, like, leaned forward, and we all went to the Gables movie theater, which used to be, like, 59 cents. And my whole family went, and we were like, oh my God! And that was it. Like, we have the 1 second of it on the screen, we all screamed. I don't even think I was in the credits, but It was so much fun. It filmed all night in the middle of the night. Yes. And I was, it was in Book of Daniel, Sweet Liberty. I'm trying to think what else, but those were a few that you might know, where I was an extra. And Rock of Ages, I was a glorified extra. I had a cameo. They called it a cameo. And I was like 3 days getting to shoot with all these rocker dudes and Tom Cruise and Russell Brand. Like, Tom Cruise couldn't have been nicer, by the way. The man looks like he just came out of the womb. When you meet him, you're just like, did you just come from a sauna or the gym, or you just got 50 hours sleep in an oxygen chamber? It's crazy. But he was really sweet. It was a lot of fun. They asked me if I wanted to be like in the religious posse or be a rocker chick, and I was like, I'm gonna be a rocker chick, come on. Yes, anyone else?
Any other questions? Right here.
What was your favorite video that you shot, and were you a fan of shooting videos?
I was such a fan of shooting videos and still am. Let's see, favorite video to shoot. That's such a good question. Maybe We Could Be Together, because it was me and my whole band and crew on this like just blank canvas in Brooklyn or Queens it was. And then it was like my family, we were all around a campfire. It was very much like a kumbaya. Everyone in my life that was important to me, I wanted to get them in on the action and make it a big, fun experience. And it was like the 5th single off an album, which always is kind of like, this is not going to be the biggest hit, and it doesn't have to be the slickest video. So that was pretty fun. And Electric Youth was pretty amazing because I was on an airplane, I was 17, and I was like sketching a castle. But I want my video to look like this. And I walked in and like, there was the castle, you know? And so to have it go from that incarnation to actually coming to fruition is pretty amazing. What about my deadheads in the front? You guys don't have any questions? Yes, Joni.
Can you tell us about the experience of filming The Music in Me?
Oh yeah, so I did a movie for the Up Network last year called The Music in Me, and it was filmed in beautiful Sudbury, Canada, hotspot of the world if no one's ever been there. Definitely go in the late fall, early winter. Not. Gloria Rubin was in it, who was amazing. Like the first thing that came to mind when you said, tell us about that experience was Gloria, because she was amazing. And I've always called myself an accidental actress, especially on camera. Like, the director's biggest note to me always is pull it back. Because as you see, I have a lot of energy that projects out because I've done theater. So like, every time I feel like I'm doing nothing, that's when the director goes, that was it. And I'm like, really? I felt like I was sleeping, mumbling, and they're like, no, that was natural. I'm like, my natural is hey, but camera natural is hey. You know, it's very subtle. But it was a lot of fun. I'm at a place, like I've done a bunch of acting roles in theater, and I had a moment in my life where I was like auditioning for sitcoms, and like, this is a fun fact that you guys might not know, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. It was between me, Taylor Dane, and the woman who played the mom, to play the mom. And I think to myself now, why would I have wanted to play a mom on a Disney show? Like, why was I even at that audition? But it was like ingrained in me that you got a good audition and you went. And you learned it, and you morphed yourself into that role. And I always go to like, what would like Tina Turner do? That's my like guide now for, if you have something really unique that's your own on it, then you can bring it to your music and to a stage. I feel like everything you do in your career should be congruent and should be feeding that ultimate goal and capitalizing on your uniqueness. Like, I recently got a call to do a role in a Lifetime movie. And Lifetime's amazing, I love their movies. But I read the part and I didn't get excited. And I said, any third girl you throw a stick at in LA could play this role. And I feel like I've just spent 28 years building what I do. And so if I make a movie once every 2-3 years, as long as it's something unique and special to my skills and my personality, that's what I want to bring. Because nobody can play you like you. Like Julia Roberts, she's best playing Julia. Like, I'll go watch her eat an apple on a screen because she's being Julia Roberts, you know? I don't really care if she can do Shakespeare. I don't want to see her do Shakespeare. So that's kind of where I've gotten to, and I'm actually working on developing another movie for another network. I can't say what it is yet. And again, it's very much like somewhat based on my life and my experiences, but if my life went totally awry. So it's fun because it's like it's based on me, it's not quite me, but it's very much, again, in the writing and in meeting with the writers, and there's going to be anecdotes from my real life that nobody knows and nobody could write or play like me. So I'm really excited to do that.
And we got time for about 2 more questions. Is that
Okay,
cool?
yeah,
Questions
that's
over
great.
here?
Let's go, it's going good.
You?
I like to talk a lot if you can't tell.
For the Music and Me movie you just did, is
Yeah.
that going to be released on DVD? Because we didn't have access to it. And
Oh.
also, part 2, what's your favorite song of yours to perform?
Okay, well, first of all, I don't know about the DVD thing. I'll have to check on that. I'm not sure. I'd love to encourage them to do that. My favorite song to perform. Ooh, that's a good one. You know, it's funny. I mean, I do love, lately, actually, I've been doing like a newer version of Foolish Beat. And I started with a new intro that goes, it was a foolish beat of my heart. We were together, now we are apart. And now I'm lost without you. I lost me without you. I was the one who was walking away. You were the one saying, baby, no stay. Now on the road without you. Every song's about you. And I love doing that because I do it now and I do the verse and I leave more space in it. I don't do it with the track that's there was a time when I break it down and really fill in those lyrics with my experiences. So that's really fun for me now. And then doing Maybe This Time from Cabaret lately is really fun. And I played that role, I played Sally Bowles in Cabaret on Broadway like 14 years ago now. Oh my God. Does anyone have the experience where like anything 14 years ago feels like it was 5 years ago? Yeah. I'm like, everything feels like it was 5 years ago. Nothing feels 14 or 20 or 25. But yeah, so again, even Maybe This Time, whereas I thought I had so much experience to bring to it then, the more your life goes on when you sing a song like that, and if anyone's familiar with the song, maybe this time I'll be lucky, maybe this time, you know, when there's the line, all the odds are in my favor, something's bound to begin. Everybody has that moment where they're like, God, please don't let this fall apart again, whatever it is, whether it's love, whether it's something in your career, your work, or whatever it is. I think as you get older, you really can, that moment resonates with you. So every time I sing that, it could be like I just performed it last weekend in a loud gay club in West Hollywood at a private event. It could be that, or it could be at a black tie affair, and I'm in it. I'm like living it, and so it's really fun. Yeah, a couple more.
Couple more questions back here.
Okay. So I met you earlier. You were like my childhood idol. I saw you twice here in Pittsburgh at the A.J. Plumbo Center. And so my question is, how did it feel at such a young age, especially when you would get out on stage and have thousands of fans screaming for you? Were you nervous or more excited?
It's a great question. I've always used the word anxious because I've always thought of that as being the positive form of nervous. Like, you know, it's excited / nervous. I've always had it's really funny. I've had adrenaline issues my whole life where even now, I'm escalating as this talk is going on. And it's just because I care. I always cared so much about every show, and I almost wished I could be more nonchalant in a way, or a little out of my own way sometimes. So sometimes, once I was on stage, and it's like this to this day. I'm the most at home, the most relaxed, I'm having the most amount of fun. But leading up to shows, I'm tortured. And it's weird, because every performer makes it look easy. And it's like Donny Osmond has had stage fright issues his whole life. And then you see him on stage, and he's so effortless, and you're like, how is that possible? But to me, it's never just another day when you're doing a show at night. which is the good news and the bad news. So when you're doing 8 shows a week, every day is like, I'm going to be in front of 2,000 people tonight, or I'm going to be in front of 10,000 people, and everything that you do in the day, like, it's all about the show. It's like what you eat, and if you meditate, and if you nap, and how you work out, and how much you talk on the phone, and so you kind of live in a bubble, and that rigidness can be, or rigidity, that's the word, can actually lead to more stress than if you just went about your day. So I'm really trying to find that balance now. Like if I'm in a city and I'm performing, it used to be like, well, I can't go out and do anything during the day. I need to just like stay home and focus. And you can like focus yourself into, being a tortured state. And so I've just come to like really recently, after all these years, I've gone, you know what, the day is there to enjoy. So go enjoy it. And if your voice gets a little scuffed up because you're laughing too loud or yelling down the street or whatever, bring it to the show. It's life. Like, I'm not an opera singer. I can sing raw. God love my buddy Kristen Chenoweth, who's amazing. Like, she's got to live in a bubble because people want to hear her, like, pristine, trilly voice. People don't, what I've learned is people want to commune with pop artists. They don't want to, they don't want you to sing at them in some like, made-up, contrived voice. So I'm just really at the point where I'm less tortured. It's taken all these years, so hopefully the next chapter will be a lot more fun and relaxing. It was always fun, but I had a lot of anxiety and depression issues as a kid too, and people go, how can you be depressed? You were living your dream. And I think that's when people get depressed, is when life is overwhelming you, even in a positive way, and you don't know how to process it all. You tend to you shut down, and or you get really and start to short circuit. And back in those days, it was like there was Xanax, there was Prozac, and I'm at a point now where I see all holistic practitioners to try to I try to realize okay, if I can't handle my own life, then maybe I'm living my life wrong. Maybe I should try to live my life in a way that agrees with me, and maybe that's not performing every day anymore. Maybe it's relaxing at home for a week, and I'm dealing with some health issues too. And so I go, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to just go and relax for a week and then venture out and perform, and try to never get too overwhelmed and, too amped and have to have all this recovery time and build up time. And so Marie Osmond's one of my favorite people, and she's a friend, and I watch her, and she's talking to you like this, and then she's singing, and then and it's all a flow. And I'm trying to learn more from that, whatever my flow is, to really find it and be in it. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Let's do one last question.
Okay. Make it a good one. So last one. No pressure.
So you started singing young. So you sort of answered my question. I was thinking when you got older, it's more relaxing. Plus, also you can actually put more into what you live. Your life.
For sure.
But I know when I actually do a coffee house and I get real nervous. So I was wondering, you probably don't get as nervous as some people like it's just starting out when you're starting out. You don't probably get as nervous, or do you still get nervous?
Well, no, you still get that weird adrenaline, I call it. It's I'm not one of these people who's backstage, just talking to someone in the wings, and then I go out. I'm kind of getting in a zone and having to purposely breathe deep, because my natural state of mind is to not breathe deep, you could tell probably by my energy right now. So, I meditate, I do these things to really try to just get in that zone where you can go out there and be out of your own way and not not being a victim of the nerves. But no, I think you'd be inhuman to not feel the nervousness. And I know a lot of people go on stage fright medications and beta blockers. They go, why do you want to block the thing that's fueling the performance and it's exciting? And if it's like I said, if it's a little raw and you're a little ooh, on stage, people like to see the humanness, I think. So I don't worry so much about the nerves anymore. Oh, one more, just for the heck of it.
All right, sure.
One more. The guy in the back, just so you can get your workout.
Oh my goodness.
Run. This has been really fun, you guys. I love doing the cons because I always say, like, if I'm at a stage door or something, it's always very rushed to say hi to people. And people are trying to get their anecdote in, and they want me to hear that anecdote, and I want to hear that anecdote because I don't know how my music fit into all of your lives. And so I never tire of hearing about it. And so I love that these afford us all the moment to really, you know, to take that, like, I get to meet all of you who have, I might cry. I get to meet all of you who have allowed me to do what I do my whole life. And without you guys listening to the music, showing up, and being there, and also right now, as I mentioned, I've been dealing with some health challenges, and a week ago didn't know if I could really be here, and then I start reading Twitter, and people are saying how excited they are. And it gives me something to motivate, feeling good for, and to get out of bed for. And so I really appreciate meeting you guys.
Thank you. All right, we're going to do the final question back here for you.
Yes. In school, there was a story going around campus about people running into Debbie Gibson.
I was on every campus, apparently.
Have you ever run into those stories?
I run into them all the time, and here's the funny thing. I actually the only college I ever applied to was Hofstra University, and that was just for, like, kind of classes on the off season in case there was something I was interested in learning. But the college degree thing never really mattered to me. Like the song that though our graduation hangs on the wall, right? But they never really helped us at all. You know, there are things about life that you learn in college, and there's things you don't. And for me, I mean, obviously, if I wanted to be a doctor, I would have needed to go. But I always say when I get on stage, no one's going to die on my operating table tonight if I hit a bad note. So I was on the tour bus during my college years, and I think I would have been foolish to not keep that momentum that I had just started going. So, you know, the big thing was that I don't, you know, I said rigidness early instead of rigidity. There you go. There's a sign I did not go to college. But other than that, I think I turned out okay. But no, but it's funny because people do come up to me and they go, I heard a rumor you were going to our college. And I'm like going, who started these rumors? Then I've heard that I was people's roommate in college. That was even better. I go, who makes that up? It's so easy to get called out on that. But yeah, I went to the College of Electric Youth, baby.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Deborah Gibson, I think you can do a little bit better than that.
Thank you, guys.
I think we can do a little better than that. Come on. Just a bit more. You guys are heading back to the table. So if you want to get a photo autograph or you have a question you didn't get